1. I came into work today at my smaller size store of a semi-big retail chain, already expecting the shift to be trying. It was a noon to 5 p.m. shift on a Saturday. Basically, 5-hour-long rush hour, and it was, because of course the holidays and all. I mostly dealt with the usual, people misreading terms and conditions on coupons and discounts, forcing me to pull managers off registers to deal with item voids and the like. A legitimate discount not working during the totaling process? Unusual, but it happens. That started this round of garbage. Me just trying to do the right thing and uphold the discount, despite having to run off and find the sticker, verify the terms, and grab the manager despite her own long line. The specific discount was for buy one get one half off for holiday jars. We worked it out easily enough the first time, and the patrons saved a couple bucks between their 4 jars. Then I had a patron come in later to get the same kind of jars, and I mentioned I would have to get the manager to do the discount. Patron said, "I know, I was here earlier." Oh, okay, that's helpful, actually. I'm super face-blind at work, so it's not unusual for me to not recognize someone from earlier or another day. This time, though, the patron had 3 jars versus 4. The discount could only be applied to one of the sets. The patron claimed these were the last 3 jars we had still, quick enough price match, since I had dealt with the issue previously. And then the patron came back again a little later. Yep, there's the inevitable hook, 3rd time's the charm, right? They swooshed back up, bags in hand, so I thought, this is either a return, not my department, or they're getting more stuff. I guess I wasn't too off the mark either way. They put one more of the jars down and effectively said, "I actually put this down earlier and forgot to bring it up to the counter." Okay, I rang it up, and I could feel it in my gut what they were about to try to do. I tried so hard to will my gut to be wrong. In retail? How foolish. I said, "Okay, at full price?" And they responded with, "No." Oh, great. I bought 3, and now I'm buying the 4th I was supposed to get before. That's not how that works, but they weren't about to care about how an ended transaction is over and can't be added onto. I was maybe 3 hours in already, so I was ready to mentally check out of the situation. I quickly deferred to my manager and let her take point. She ended up going along with it and decided to go with classifying the transaction as a return on my register. It was going to take some time by design. She eventually asked the patron to swipe the card they used, but it wouldn't go past the PIN screen. Our system has both credit and debit card types use the PIN screen, which, as an aside, confuses patrons all the time. So my manager tried to restart the credit card process 3 times to no avail. The lines on both registers just kept getting longer. And then the register system, dated 1999, froze up. We had to restart something almost 10 years old. And, if you know how long a Windows 2000 took to boot up, well, this took twice as long. My manager was able to ring others up at her register in the meantime, but my line was at a standstill. Fortunately, the system booted up fine on first try. The one major fortune. Back to square one then. Trying the credit card. It beeped a negative. Again. My manager then asked if there was any PIN the patron could put in. They hemmed and hawed about it, but gave it a go. After a moment of tense silence, it worked. Thank the Lord. So we spent maybe 15 minutes on this, on a dubious transaction, and left a testy line I had to work through after. I hope the dollar they saved was worth it. 2. I can't even believe it. I finally have one. Bit of context. I am a beleaguered FedEx guy, 6 days a week, at least 13 hours a day, delivering your knickknacks in time for Christmas. My state of mind could liberally be described as punchy, as in 0 fucks left, very tired, just grinding through one day at a time. Today is one day off eve, so I've decided I stop by my local grocery store to grab some delicious adult beverages to accompany my post-shower couch crash. As I walk in the store, I remember I need soap and shampoo. I go grab them first. Walk to the beer aisle and select a particularly lovely holiday IPA. Dreams of cold suds washing down my parched throat, dancing like sugar plums in my head. I hear a loud crash in the aisle, one over from mine. I know it's the wine aisle, so I walk over to see if everyone is okay. Now keep in mind, I am still in uniform. Blue uniform pants with reflector strips on the legs, purple and black cotton FedEx shirt, black beanie, Red Wing boots and a grey Carhartt hoodie. I do not look like the grocery store employees. I think I know why things went down the way they did. 1. I'm a smartass. I piss people off sometimes with my bullshit. 2. I had soap, shampoo, and a case of beer. They may have thought I was bringing stuff back to the shelves, though my uniform should have been a dead giveaway. I round the corner on the aisle and I see a young 20-something couple staring down at a pile of broken glass and a spreading pool of grown-up grape juice. They look up at me. I ask them if they're okay. They say yes. Like an idiot, I say, ain't nothing but a sacrifice for Bacchus. Pause for laughter. Crickets, in fact. The girl seemed really pissed. Okay. Turn on my heel to leave with a shrug. Can't win 'em all. The guy speaks up. Are you fucking kidding me? I turn to look at him and say, excuse me. He spits, get back over here and help us clean this up. It's your job. The laughter that broke free from me was pure and a bit hysterical. I've been getting my ass kicked for weeks, and here is this guy giving me a death stare with his hands on his hips as I laugh my ass off. The girl was no better. I wave them off with a, nah, and go pay for my stuff. The couple actually went up to the manager, who is a buddy of mine from years of shopping in this store, to complain that I just walked away from them. I watched them complain about me to the manager. It was awesome. The manager just looked at me, looked back at them and said, well, yeah, he's a FedEx guy. Just hold on, someone will be here soon to help you guys out. The couple storm off. This dude is staring me down. I'm kind of snort chuckling at him and looking back. The manager comes over to me and asks, what the hell was that about? Bacchus, the god of wine. She laughed like, yeah, whatever, I have work to do, and walked off. I paid for my stuff and left. Now I'm sitting on the shitter writing this for all of you because I'm so happy to finally have one to share. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, my sugary boogers. 3. The longest job I've ever held clocked in at just short of a decade. I worked in one of those jack-of-all-trades kind of places. We rented movies for the family, sold adult films for the randy, and provided cellular service and satellite service for those in need. Needless to say, I have a few stories I can share. Here's one of my incredibly abridged misadventures from my time as a retail worker. Now, I've been working at this job for about 2 weeks. I was learning the ropes and working my very first shift closing the store. My assistant manager and I noticed a man in the adult room, kind of staggering back and forth. As good as this job was, there was one major drawback. We live in a dry state, and we happen to be situated right next to the liquor store. It wasn't very hard for us to put 2 and 2 together. This guy was absolutely shit-faced and had somehow made it through the crowd of Friday nighters. We kept an eye on him for a few minutes and saw him produce something from his pocket. Admittedly, the camera was a bit grainy and we were using old black and white. So it took me a few moments to catch on that he was using a box cutter to cut through the protective casing around our adult DVDs. I pointed this out to the manager and Ashley went to confront him. I tugged on her sleeve and told her to stay behind the counter because he had a box cutter. Thankfully, she listened. Now, the way we had the store set up when I first worked there consisted of DVDs wrapped around the outer walls and VHS bays in the center of the store. After 15 to 20 minutes of watching this guy, he comes stumbling out of our little corner room. He already put the discs in his jacket, so we already had him on concealment charges. For some reason, he caught on that we knew exactly what he was doing. Despite being in an alcoholic haze, he attempted to cut and run by sticking the DVDs behind some of our dismantled VHS boxes in the top of a random bay. It just so happened to be the Disney movies, and we just so happened to have a grandmother and her 2 grandchildren in the store attempting to rent at the time. I watched in horror as she obliviously walked over to the same section and reached for the plastic slip sleeve that contained the movie boxes that matched up with the VHS tapes. It was at this point I called it very loudly and caught her attention. As she's looking at me, I watch as drunk dude attempts to re-enter the adult room, but walks into the plywood partition instead. It was right at this point I heard the clatter of his box cutter falling out of his pocket. All of this happened in the blink of an eye, and the old lady was still looking at me. I simply mouth, "You might not want to do that," and she picks up on it. This guy recollected himself and did not realize he had dropped his blade. He just attempted to make a beeline for the front of the store. I watched in awe as my manager did a Dukes of Hazzard slide over the counter and locked the front door. She then stood in the metal detector we had by the exit, leaving a 5.5-foot tall register partition and a turnstile in this guy's way. He tries to go for the detector and takes a swing at my manager, completely whiffing as he was a good 6 to 8 feet away from her. He must have realized he was on camera because now we had concealment and attempted assault on film, and he immediately stops attempting to be violent. He opted to attempt running through the turnstile, which only went one way. Unfortunately for him, he was the perfect height for the bar to hit him directly in the balls. He fell to the ground like a hot bag of dimes and clutched his groin in pain. Luckily for us, the grandmother with her 2 grandkids was one of our cellular customers, and had also come in to purchase a case for her phone. My manager looked at her, and she was already on the phone with the police. As it turns out, this guy had already hit the liquor store. He waited until the manager was in the back grabbing a box of restock, lifted a bottle of liquor off the shelf, and finished it somewhere out of sight within the plaza. He caught the whole thing on camera, but didn't move fast enough to catch the guy before he exited the store. The way we saw it, this guy got his drink on and drunkenly stumbled into our store in order to hide long enough for the police to stop looking for him, opting to do some shoplifting in the process. He starts mumbling something as the police cuff him and take him out of the store, and as the officer looks down below our VHS return slot, I can see him resisting the urge to burst out laughing. Not only had this guy almost knocked himself out with a blow to the balls, he spit out his dentures in the process. In all honesty, this happened quite a while ago, probably close to a dozen years as a matter of fact. I sincerely hope this guy got his life straight, because I cannot see shoplifting a few freaky adult films being worth quite literally drunkenly busting a nut and humiliating yourself in the process. Especially in a small town where everybody knows everybody. And everybody talks. 4. This happened a few days ago at an airport whilst waiting for a delayed flight. I won't drone on about why. Because I've been traveling for work, I'm in a suit at the time. The shop in question has a large open front, and a large part of the store is visible from the seating area and bar. After eating and hanging out for a few hours, I decided that I fancied a cold beverage from one of the shops. The airport is fairly dead, as we were the last remaining flight out, and I left my baggage with the gentleman who sat next to me. I enter the store and grab a couple of bottles of Coke from the fridge, and walk towards the self-service machines, when I realized my wallet was in my jacket with the rest of my stuff. With means to complete my transaction secured, I go back to my items and notice they have an offer on another fizzy beverage. As I walk past, I notice a middle-aged woman staring at me, but I don't think much of it. I decide to go for the other drinks, take my items off the till, and return them to the fridge. After placing them and picking up my new selection, I turn around to discover the woman from earlier a few inches in front of me. Before I can even react to this woman, henceforth Ma, bursts into outrage. "I wish to make a complaint. Your employees are refusing to give Sorry. Serve me! I demand that you open the till and serve me properly." "Well, you see, I am sick of hearing excuses. I demand you treat me as a proper customer and serve me. I do not pay to do your," whilst stabbing her finger into my chest, "job. These machines are a bloody nightmare. Nightmare! And they never work properly, and then I have to fetch you umpteenth times to sort the blimmin' thing to do what it's supposed to do. Look, I'm not... And I don't see why I have to use it, while you both stand around here doing absolutely bugger all useful but moving tat around. Around and chatting? You are not paid to talk and wander around, you are paid to work. I want to make a complaint about him," pointing wildly at the now quite confused employee who is staring at us, with a "what the hell do I do" face on. "And I want you to Let me stop you there. I don't actually work here," I say with a nervous half-laugh. "I'm also trying to get home just like you are." Ma's face drops and there is a long, awkward silence. In this time, Ma's entire demeanor and tone changes, and she goes bright red. "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." She reaches out and touches my arm in an apologetic way. "I just thought you were... I'm sorry, It's okay. I saw you putting those things back, and I just assumed you were his boss. I see why now. Do you want some help with the machine? I guess I'll manage. It's not rocket science now, is it? Okay. Have a good Christmas. You too. I proceed to check out and return to my seat. As I leave, Ma's heading to the self-service machines herself. Leaving the airport, I notice her getting into a taxi with a few other people. I wave at her and she blushes, and gives me a small wave back. I wonder what her retelling of this event was. 5. I work for a pet supplies store. We advertise that we match prices and we do our best to make things as cheap as possible for people. Our store also sends out a lot of coupons. You cannot use our coupons and price match, however. We used to accept our coupons on top of price matching because 1, corporate didn't yell at us, and 2, we were told to be as nice as possible to customers. In the first quarter of the year, my store lost $20,000 to price matching, and around $10,000 to coupons. Corporate stepped in, obviously. Now we can only do one or the other, but they cannot both be combined. Also, quick note about price matching. The point is, the customer finds the cheaper price either on a receipt, on a picture, or in a website. We aren't supposed to be looking up prices for them. We will to be friendly and helpful. For a long time, this little old lady, N, we will call her, bought her cat food with us. She lives on Social Security, so money is tight. I would do everything I could for her to save her money. She is a genuinely nice lady most of the time, but she gets full of herself and can be demanding. She used to hate me, but now I am the only one she wants to deal with. Here is this story of the first time I had to tell her I can't price match and use coupons. Well, come in, can I help?
Where is me?
She is on aisle...
Send her to aisle 6, I need cat food.
I happen to be over there already. Sure, she is already over there.
Thanks.
Hey, Ann, how are you? Want your usual?
I'm good, you look good, I want my dry cat food.
I grab it for her, but before I get back to her cart...
Is this pate? Did you raise your prices? Go on Chewy and find these cheaper.
Okay, I can do that, just a moment. I drop the bag in there and start the 30-minute search to check her cat food prices. While I'm looking, I say, and just so you know, we can't do a coupon and price match anymore. Corporate said we were bleeding way too much money. I'm really sorry.
What? That's ridiculous. You guys are so expensive. I won't be able to shop here anymore.
I understand. We can still price match, though. So you can get as good of a deal as competitors are giving. But if you get a coupon from their stores, I understand you will go there to get your cat food.
Well, why are they changing it? You can get this, holding a can of cat food, for $1 at the Targets.
Cue about 5 more minutes of me apologizing and explaining. She finally relents. We get to the register, I scan her items. I price matching everything, I tell her the total.
Don't forget my coupon.
She doesn't have one, she always makes us scrounge to find one because, believe it or not, I don't have the codes to those things. Remember, we can't combine those offers anymore, Anne, I'm sorry.
You will lose customers. You can't just do that. You will lose money.
We were losing money, Anne. Even just price matching, we are selling these cans below our cost. I'm very sorry, but this is as much money I'm allowed to take off without losing my job.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm on a fixed income. I can't be spending this much money on cat food.
Cue another 5-minute conversation. She finally pays. I help her out to her car.
Well, I probably won't be back. They'll see. They'll be missing the money, and then I'll start shopping here again.
She comes back all the time because, lo and behold, other stores don't price match their online numbers. Other stores don't put up with her demanding price matching and demanding a specific employee's help. And other stores don't combine offers just like us. I understand money is tight, but why do I need to be put through so much grief when I am trying to help you the best I can and keep my job? Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, number 42. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use and sent in stories for use in this video. And also, Happy New Year! This should be going up on January 1st if I worked it out correctly. So I hope you have a very good 2019. I hope it's off to a pleasant start. I will be being very lazy. I tend to have a very lazy January 1st if all goes according to plan. And I hope you're all able to do the same. I got a few ideas for things I want to try in the new year. I mentioned on stream the other night something about mythology, and I'm kind of thinking about how I want to frame that. I've got some thoughts. I'm thinking maybe doing it in character might work. And we'll see. I'm not sure about the visuals. We'll see what I can do about the visuals. Anyway, that gets the year off to a start. So until next time, thank you very much for listening. And take very good care of yourselves.